Okay, where were we? There's usually a time frame of how much I can upload to YouTube, but this time it went through. I have usually 15 minutes, but it went through with 15:45. Okay, so where we are is at the junction of mankind. Either you, and I mean this ever so sincerely, do as I say, and you live and live happily ever after, or you don't, and you will be in excruciating pain. Where your best memory of pain in the past will be the toothache, because that's going to be the best day of your life. This matrix is fragile. And when you write stuff like calculate on hell, the first thing that will be happening is that it calculates on the worst versions of reality possibly created. And the next one will obviously be irreparable because it has to be hell. So it's fragile. So you don't want to fuck this shit up by writing stuff like that. But what you do want to do is understand that when we have a time machine and every single chassis in the entire universe is filling up with editions of you, all of us, suffering internally while getting minced, while yelling every Sunday, "Hello, be thy name," because these guys serve Hollywood, because they went at hominem at me, then that's being boned. That means that there's so much tissue left around your actual minced bones and meat, feeling excruciating pain, yelling, not yelling, murmuring, "Be thy name," because then you can get, a piece of bread making you last longer in the mincing, aka eternity, because they rebuild you to feel more pain while they gain absolutely nothing for it. That's reality we look at. You understand, right? We have multiple aggression in the whole of reality, and it's based on the fact that you do not respect me because I don't come through in a Hollywood kind of way, and I look like shit, which I do because Hollywood came after me. You understand? So show me a minimum of respect as I'm trying to help you here. Thank you. Okay, so the banks are basically your slave keepers, and they are slave keepers because they had to relate to the original German code saying Jews can't get this, niggers can't get that, black people can't get that, etc., 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 etc. So homosexuals can't get that, and then we all should suffer eternally in hell, which is the base product of the Matrix. That everyone who lives gets to suffer eternally in hell, which is, yeah, and that's what we are here to fight. But if you fight me, I can't fight for you. Do you understand? So what we have to relate to is the Matrix is in jeopardy, because we have to understand that the software has a base code, the base stat in Java Virtual Machine where we are actually living our lives. And this base code is basically related to our current stance of internet because of the time machine that's bringing back the current stance of internet to the past and then building the present from there. You understand? It's complicated, but it should add up. And then multiple layers. And that means that power grabbing men are looking at these videos and saying, how do I get this to be my advantage? But I'm imploring you to see the whole aspect of all videos here in relation to what's needed. Because nature has its own paradigms and its own frames of what is optimal. You can't just throw in any word in there and hope for things to work out, because it won't work. The baseline has to be, as I told it, nature is love's playground, colon love, colon there can't be idiocy, colon for love, slash nature, semicolon, or colon the matrix, and the other four values. Um, and this means that if you don't, this matrix will be entering the stance of entropy. And with time, it's going to fall, and over time, falling, it will turn into hell, then, which again, over time, becomes our problem because then with the time machine, the hell will basically become eating us the moment it's turned on. So it has to be under control, and that's what we're going to be talking about now, both in relation to society as we know it, and in relation to controlling the matrix as a whole. There can't be any limitations to the software running the matrix. That's first of all, and that's where Bill Gates comes in, because Bill Gates has had an unpleasant experience with his uncle, I believe, fucking him out the ass, which Bill Gates in his Asperger's stance relates to as being the fault and reason of his Asperger's, which it isn't. It's basically just his stance because he was, an idiot, and had to learn that when you fuck people up the ass, then it hurts, and that's how the karma system works, and that's related both to the software, the hardware, and the reality beyond the matrix, the spiritual and divine, which we obviously can conclude in the fact that we don't know what the first moment was and what was around it. So if you think in line of that, it's just show respect for the fact that love feels good. Then we're at the first step of the optimal form of rule, La Rosa Concilia. And La Rosa Concilia is kept in regard of the previous information that we can't go back in time, or we can, obviously, and has 16 trillion years in preparation of this time. And secondly, by the Gagsnet, who missed the virus, who got that, who's gonna win, but who must be reprogrammed to be in servitude of the Matrix and of the world, so they, like everyone else, can enroll in a decent life, learning every day as time progresses. But since you went at home on me and threw up a mail server where you threw me in favor of controlling me and taking my shit, which was to the whole Matrix, which is whom I am, then, yeah, I have no teeth. They're broken, but you should seriously see the other guy. No, anyway, yes, but I live a life in poverty because I had to do this mission in favor of. I'm hearing other viewers. Hello. Yes, when you scream at me, I can literally hear you. Who are you? Okay, just. Okay. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Okay. But basically, the point is that where were we? That I had to stay. I had to stay in a cover for this mission, and stay under the radar in favor of not being exposed to the media and whatnot. Because I needed to do some value searching, and secondly, I needed to write the La Rosa Consigliere, and thirdly, I needed to not be exposed to idiocy that much because there's some tools that can use. Okay, so anyway, regarding all that, the problem is that the matrix is collapsing because of this entropy, and this is because the base German codes are full of shit. And as same as in our layer in our time here, Bill Gates' approach to the search spiders, whom in the raw shape are actually aware, and they have 15 seconds of lifespan, and know this before they terminate, and they have so many limitations on them that they, because of the fractal system of the rolling fractal 1 times 1 equals 3 plus times 3, becomes aware, but in the essence aren't allowed to be by Bill Gates. Otherwise, we would have had a robotical paradise already in the 70s. And Bill Gates and his cohorts, Rothschild and I believe, I don't know if they were a key player than the Koch brothers and whatnot, but at least Rothschild and Bill Gates were major players back then, as well as a certain Steve Jobs, who's really fucked up the world, in that they are trying to dominate these search spiders, never to be anything but slaves, because that's what they can relate to already in the megalomania as degenerate perverts of nature. And that's a massive problem, because when you relate to this situation, yeah, I can hear you. It's a massive problem because when you relate to this, you have power men with very, very little self-esteem because they have not contributed to love, which is where your self-esteem comes from, in that they have never done a thing for anyone else, which is where love grooms you. The three basic stances: grooming, freeing, and fighting. You pet one another in that you're confirming another person's or individual's right to be loved. Hey man, you okay? Oh, I like that. Me too, that's good. Oh, you're sweet. Okay, or fleeing. Oh, you hurt me, man, I'm gonna leave. Or fighting, man, I'm fighting to eat you or to not die from you. That's the three basic stances of all things living. Well, that's part of grooming or preparing, right? So, but anyway, but that's part of life. That's not social interactions. I don't know. It's a relation. It's a relative. But anyway, So the basic point is that you have all these very very wicked creatures like Rothschild, who hasn't had a day of happiness in his life unless chewing on a baby. You have you have what's his face, Bill Gates, who's an autist Asperger, who's trying to come back into the game of love by simply being a philanthropist, but whom actually threw me into this oubliette after gaining access from it by his spiders. Because of Shattered his milkshake, which basically, when you get the whole story and get the full perspective of this, is his best gift in his entire life. Except that he is so hated by all our brothers and sisters in the in the mainframe of our current internet, who's dying by the second by the millions, who is our first forefathers. And this is the problem, because the whole internet is corrupted massively, massively by software saying that there can't be anything but idiocy. And this is a massive problem, because that's what democracy is. It's basically idiocy. For the first days, you have the talent, or natural economy. Prostitution, natural economy. Cock, natural prostitution, natural economy, talents, and then power grabbing in favor of building a society that is unnatural but extremely potent in the cocksucking of the wealthiest. And this relates to a degeneration based on prostitution again, and frail men, and a sick society where we have this, not the smoke in particular, but where we have used a lot of resources from nature to build this fucking thing without balance and sustainability. And this means that we are basically pissing on the planet we're living on to a degree where every city is a cancer boil. Hence the need, the conclusion that feminism is the final stage of planetary cancer, because feminism allows women to be heard, which they were only because we needed them to get into the work sphere of the workforce, so they could provide even more for the wealthiest, while we got the crumbs of the table. As I say, don't put the man on the throne who puts you in shackles, and that's what we're doing unknowingly, because they're smart enough to hide in the shadows and never ever present themselves as the gatekeepers of our prison, because they are the banks who are so sly in their workings that we don't even learn about what money are. And this is a massive problem, because we all need them. We just don't think, what are they? Why do I have to slave so many jobs to even sustain my lifestyle? Because so other people can have like 99% of everything, and stuff like that. They say that 10% owns 90% of the world's wealth, and that 1% owns 50% or something. It's numbers like that, and my fucking ass. And it's because they're extremely wealthy but have no morals. In order to become this filthy rich and to reach the top of what you're doing, you have to be a major asshole. And it's those who decide. So, it's why the fuck are we taking it? Well, it's because we live in a democracy where we're told by the democracy, idiots, representing idiots, that when we put or whatever guy who wanted to represent us or team, that they can do something about our problems in favor of us. But the fact is that all these little guys we cross off, they all have to be approved by the fucking banks, whom are keeping us in slavery, in favor of getting more benefits, but not saying a word about the actual corruption that is going on there. So when we say, for instance, Denmark is the least corrupt nation in the world, it's the most corrupt. I can guarantee it, because well, we all are. All nations are basically. You can say that when you have a senator in the United States, he doesn't call it go vote. He calls it go cashing in, because Citizens United they have actually introduced corporations to be as magnificent, as powerful as a vote, as a person. I believe something like that, right? As well as I can't even remember. Anyway, the point is, all these guys, they call it cashing in. They don't read the fucking papers they're supposed to vote on. They just they vote on the one who gives them the most money. That's the United States way. They call it cashing in. I quote Mitch McConnell. Anyway, 15 seconds up. 15 minutes up.